Coach, your group was able to flip the script and come away with a close victory tonight. What pleased you most about your group's effort?
Our fans. We talked about being at home. You talk about their support. You talk about how loud this building was, the energy that we had to have. There were so many times in this game that they propelled us with the energy when we went on that 16, I think, 3 run. And I think those are the things that we talked about, what we need. But our guys being able to stay resilient when we got down 11, didn't rattle us at halftime, being down 10. You know, the end of play 3, that could have been a momentum shift, but our guys regrouped, rallied back, and continued to fight.
We've talked about this team's fight all season long, their resilience all season long. What needed to be said or what had to be said in those moments when Boston kept fighting back, kept coming back to pull this one out and take the lead?
Nothing. This is a group that continues to pull for one another, no matter who's on the floor, no matter who's on the bench. These guys continue to talk to one another about what we needed to do, and it came with the defensive end of the floor. Can we sit down and string a couple stops together? That's what we were talking about in the huddle. Can we string stops together to get out and run and get some easy baskets?
What did you see tonight that wasn't showing in Game 1 and Game 2?
I mean, there's a combination of things. I think we did a much better job on the defensive glass. I think we held them to 8 offensive rebounds, where in the other games they had 13, for 20 points and 17 points and for second chance points. So our ability to keep them off the glass was very big for us tonight.
Jamal, what was the key to such a strong performance in the third quarter tonight?
Our guys just came out and understood. We didn't have to watch anything. You didn't have to think about a lot of adjustments in that moment. It was about digging in and understanding where we were and how we needed to play. And then we came out, moved the basketball, attacked the rim, sat down and got stops, forced them into some tough twos, but we were able to turn them over as well. I think that was a big key in this game.
What stood out to you about Franz Wagner's performance tonight?
A lot. I mean, his resilience, I think there was a time one of our coaches came to me and said, Franz has run 16-minute straights, and that's okay. That's the toughness that he had. Paolo did the same thing the other night. That's what these guys are willing and wanting to do in order to make sure that we come away out with the victory.
Where was Franz at his most valuable? Was it on the defensive end, guarding Tatum and Brown, or was it on the offensive end?
I think you got to make a combination of both. I think you can't just leave it to one side of it. His ability to make plays, get downhill, baskets when we needed them, and then being able to sit down and guard. You have to give him both sides of the basketball is where he, showed up big.
He wasn't happy with his Game 7 performance last spring. How did he rebound from that?
One thing I will say that this is one game that we took care of at home. We did what we were supposed to do by taking care of home. I'm not going to go into what happened last year in these moments because right now it's just one game at home, and that's what we did, and we've got to make sure we get the job done on Sunday. You took care of tonight, protected your home for one game. We got to make sure that we can enjoy it for a moment, break down the film tomorrow, and be ready to go on Sunday.
Paolo and Franz have been your top 2 scorers throughout this series again tonight, but you get more help from other players down the list and then on the bench. Just what did you like most about the help that other guys were able to step up with?
I think it showed up in more ways than scoring. I know Wendell had 10, Anthony Black came in, had 9, but it was more, you got to give Gary Harris so much credit for the way in which he came in and changed the game. His defensive presence, his activity on the basketball, not giving in the switches, making it tough on those guys to bring the ball up the floor. Those are the things that don't stand out in the box score, whether you score or don't. Kenny was, again, tremendous defensively, getting after the ball, getting into the ball, fighting over screens. These guys take on that defensive challenge, and that's what we're going to continue to need.
First of all, congratulations on the win tonight. There was some uncertainty on the flip side with JT's wrist injury, not knowing how long he would be out for. But for him to come back and have a 36-point performance like that, just what could you even say about Jason Tatum and just the caliber player that he is?
There's a reason he's an all-star. There's a reason why he's an all-NBA guy. He's up for those big moments. He's tough. He's resilient. He's going to find his way to get through and make big plays, and that's what he did. He came out and shouldered a bunch of the load, and I think his ability to do that is credit to him.
Coach, you decided to mix it up and throw a little full court press at them at the beginning. Just how much of that is just wanting to mix things up when you're at home and backs against the wall 2-0?
Well, I think it's just being able to, we talked about before the game, being able to turn them over. That's been something that we've been very good at, and we hadn't done it for the first couple games. And I think the change in mentality there had to be that. make them have to work harder to get the basketball and not get into their sets as easy as they needed to with 19, 18 on the clock. Can they run their sets when it's like 14 and 15 on the clock? That's very important for us.
Well, kind of on that point about sorry, I'm back here. About the full court defense, you've mentioned in the past that that's something that AB and Gary just kind of pick up and decide to do on their own. For AB to have that kind of poise in that moment, especially in the first quarter when he kind of came in and helped spark the energy in that first quarter, what does that say about him and his growth in this, just his second year, but really his first true playoff series?
I think you're seeing constant growth from him. Consistent growth, the little things in the moment. You know, he's getting to the basket, getting hit in the head, not getting the call. He stayed the course, turned right back around, picked up full court, got a steal, and that just says a lot for him to not let the things in these moments rattle him and continue to play the right style of basketball.
Hey, Coach, over here.
How you doing?
Doing pretty good. So for you guys to be able to guard one-on-one tonight and not give up that many threes, you held them to 27 attempts tonight. How important was that just for your defense being able to stay home on the shooters?
It's big. I mean, they thrive on threes. They thrive on finding mismatches, and they found a couple. But again, our guys are going to sit down and guard, and that's what we've challenged them to. And if you can sit down and guard your yard, you've done your job. And now there's times if there's a blow-by, we need to be there for help. But at the end of the day, you got to be able to sit down and guard your man and then be able to know that the help will come if you're beat.
Jamal, what kind of lift did Anthony Black give you defensively in the first half?
I thought he was great. I really do. I thought that when he and Gary came in the game, they changed it. The first pickup to denial, almost getting a 5-second count, getting the steal, his intensity, his length. I think he just does a heck of a job guarding it. He almost had the other steal, but then the challenge came and they called the foul on it. But again, this young man has done a great job of continuing to guard, continuing to step into his role and whatever's asked of him.
Back here, Jamal. Up, camera.
No, how are you doing?
We know the numbers and what was at stake tonight and, you know, what typically happens if you go down 0-3, but what can a win do? I mean, how much life does that give you in this series?
You understand what you're capable of doing, which this group already knows what we can do, and we took care of home for one game. And now you got to do it again on Sunday. But our guys understand what it takes, how hard we have to play, the defensive focus we have to have, the offensive focus and attention to detail we have to have, and what we have to hold them to. But it gives you an opportunity to see a win knowing that you have to play a certain style of basketball.
Coach, I mean, we've seen Franz and Paolo do this throughout the season, but how impressive has their leadership been throughout this series?
They've been great. Their communication, their toughness, their resilience, their ability to just stay the course no matter what's happening in the game, and them playing off of one another. Getting into the huddles, it's big when one guy can say, no, get him the ball. No, you get him the ball. And that's just the care they have for one another, but also wanting to do the right thing no matter what it takes. If one guy's got it going, you let them have it and then let them make plays off of each other. Thank you all. Appreciate it. What, Wendell?
What pleased you most about your group's performance tonight and the ability to come away with the win and start to flip the series?
I think we cleaned up the offensive glass, which was a key thing, especially in Game 2. We cleaned that up, and we gave ourselves more opportunities on the offensive end in terms of crashing the glass. When we got stops, we got out and ran. I think we did a really good job of taking guys like Derek and Peyton Pritchard out of the game, which, in my opinion, the reason why we lost the first 2 games. I think we did a really good job of paying attention to, what was needed in order to get this win. So I think that's the biggest thing.
What was talked about in the locker room right after the game? I mean, to get a win and avoid a 3-0 hole, just what can a win like this do for you guys heading into Sunday?
It can propel us into, whatever the future holds for us, you know what I'm saying? But at the same time, you don't want to, dwell on this win too long. It's still a series. It's still the first of 4. So our job is to take care of home court, take care of Sunday, and then we go from there. So we don't want to think about this win too much. It's a great win. Some things we can still build off of and going into Sunday, and then we just go from there.
Dale, what was the halftime lock back here?
Okay, my bad.
What was the halftime locker room like after that Boston run heading into halftime, and then you guys coming out and responding in the third quarter? What was talked about at halftime?
Usually coach shows film and things like that, but he said no film at the half. He said know, as simple as just nutting up and figuring out on the defensive end. You know, Jason Tatum was he got hot for a little minute, and we understood that we had to, you know, continue to make plays on that defensive end, you know, in order to give ourselves a chance. And then with all that being said, only being down 10 and not, you know, getting too down on ourselves. We all struggle with, you know, from top to bottom, in my opinion. So, you know, that was the biggest thing. He said, everybody just get out there and just warm up and be ready to go in the third.
On that point, you scored all 10 of your points in the second half. What changed for you in the second half?
You know, I had to find a way to affect the game. You know, I felt like, you know, defensively, I wasn't doing my best job in terms of playing one-on-one defense. Then offensively, you know, I had to find a way, you know, to get my own. And tonight was crashing offensive boards. You know, I just put my hard hat on and, you know, did what I can to help this team win.
Boston ties it there late, and then Franz responds with back-to-back, you know, tough layups. Just what did you see from him in that moment, and then just to lead you guys in scoring throughout the game?
You know, Franz is a special player. You know, his IQ for the game is at such a high level. You know, he understands situations very well. So we knew, at least I did, he was going to make the right play, whether that was scoring it, drawing two and kicking it. And, you know, they allowed him to play one-on-one. And, you know, we was all confident that he was going to get a bucket or at least a great shot for himself, for us. So, yeah, you know, and Franz we trust for sure.
How happy are you for him for this performance? Obviously, you're happy to have gotten the win, but still.
I mean, a lot of people like to, you know, make their own narrative about this team, about anybody in this league. No, but like I was saying, Franz's attention to detail, his work ethic, you know, it's good to see him go out there and show, you know, what he's capable of doing on any given night. So I'm super proud of him and what he did for us, but, you know, just him personally, you know, kind of getting himself going. Not saying he wasn't going at first, but, you know, he had a hell of a game tonight. So I think he's going to be able to use this to, you know, going into the next couple games of the series.
You mentioned at halftime there wasn't much said. It was just kind of a directive to everyone to defend, to have a second half like this, to have the third quarter that you guys did after the way you guys struggled in games 1 and 2. What does that say about the makeup of this team and the resilience of this team to, when, you know, back against the wall, you have this kind of performance?
That's growth for us. You know, like you said before, we've struggled, you know, with third quarters, you know, whether it's energy or lack of focus, whatever the case may have been. And we also understood no team comes back from a 3-0 ever in history. So we had to find a way to change the trajectory of this game. So I think that was a kind of a eye-opener for everyone. You know, unfortunately, you had to even get to that, but that's what it was, and we figured it out.
How was Boston different without Drew Holiday? It seemed like they missed him tonight.
He's a fantastic defender. He's a fantastic player. You know, he makes all the right plays, whether that's scoring, whether that's passing, whether that's defending the best player. You know, he's a glue guy for them, in my opinion. And you know, without them having him tonight, you know, that takes you know, maybe some threes off the board, maybe that's some deflections, good defensive stops, whatever the case may have been. But yeah, that's it.
Wendell, it's another physical and scrappy game for you guys this evening, like it's kind of been all series. Just what can you say just about the physicality and just that level that you guys just bring both sides of the ball so far, and not just tonight, but really in the series?
That's playoff basketball. You know, last year was my first time experiencing playoff basketball, and I got a taste of what it really is. You know, it's not many fouls called. It's very scrappy. A lot of hard screens, a lot of hard box outs, whatever the case may be. And, you know, that's kind of my game. I like that, you know, when they're allowing us to play physical and, you know, a lot of hitting and things like that going on throughout the game. You know, that's the kind of game I like to play. So, yeah, I like it.
Thank you, Del. I'll be back with Paolo.
Franz, what pleased you most about your team's performance tonight and the ability to get the win at home?
I thought our defense, especially in the third, that basically won us the game. You know, getting them off the line and not fouling then, and then getting the rebound.
Franz, how difficult was what you did tonight on both ends of the court, and how were you able to find a way down the stretch to lift your team in those last 2 layups?
Yeah, obviously they're a really good team. I thought our effort was great all night again. I thought we didn't, start the first half great and then ended it pretty bad too. And showed a lot of poise in that third to, hold a really good team to 11 points.
Talk a little bit more about that third quarter. It's been a struggle throughout the series so far to come out after the way you guys struggled to end the second quarter and put the clamps on defensively. What does that say about this team's resilience and focus in this kind of a game and in this series?
Yeah, I thought we showed a lot of character. Stuck together in that third, and then found a way to win the game.
Paolo, how would you best describe the performance that Franz had tonight?
I would say really gutsy. He was locked in from start to finish on both sides of the ball. It was just being ultra aggressive on both sides of the floor.
Paolo, how proud do you feel of the way that the team fought tonight under playoffs pressure? And for Franz, going to the locker room on that second half, and what was the mindset coming back from the halftime to came back aggressively and be out with a W tonight?
I would say I'm definitely proud of the team. We knew coming back down 2-0, we was going to have to, do whatever we could to get this game and give ourselves a chance to tie it up 2-2. So just proud of, how we didn't allow, some of their runs and some of their plays that they made, affect us. And we just kept playing and got the win.
Paolo, they were able to come back there in the fourth quarter, kind of another back and forth affair. Boston's going to make those runs, but to get the stops at the end, to get the shots at the end, what does that say about this team and its resilience to fight them off, in down the stretch?
Yeah, like I said, it was just a gutsy win. Like you said, we knew they were gonna make a run, and they did. But towards the end, we just made enough plays, I think, defensively and offensively, to keep them at arm's length and be able to, hold them off.
Hey, Franz and Paolo, this is for both you guys. What did you guys do that slowed down Boston's bigs? They didn't get much production from their bigs.
Yeah, I think obviously we switched a ton. They got really good shooters. Get them off the line, and then I thought especially in the second half, I thought we did a better job rebounding the ball. Just try to make it tough on them, not let them get too close to the rim, and like I said, then box out.
So, both you guys, is it a matter of just having experience of the first 2 games? What went wrong? What mistakes you made? You correct. You keep moving and pushing on. Plus the energy of the home crowd that pushed you over to get this first win tonight.
Yeah, I think, we felt how the first 2 games went, kind of figured out what went wrong for us in the first 2 games and just wanted to adjust and come out in this, game 3 and, throw the first punch and then be ready for them to throw the next punch and be able to take that and handle that. So I think we did a good job of that. We came out the locker room locked in, going down 10 at half. Cutting into that lead right away was big, and then being able to kind of pull away in that second half and then hold them off at the end.
Franz, kind of going back earlier on an earlier question, Paolo just mentioned that you guys came out of the locker room really locked in. What was the mentality? What was the mood like at halftime as you guys went in before that Boston run?
Yeah, obviously backs against the wall. We wanted to make sure we come out playing harder than them. And, like I said, I thought, especially on defense, they hit that first 3, and then after that, they didn't score for a while. So I thought we were really locked in, had great energy. And usually when we play defense like that, that's when we, get out and run and get a couple easy ones in transition as well. And that's why that third was 11-24.
Paolo, how did Drew Holiday's absence change the game at all?
I wouldn't say it really changed the game. at all, honestly. They kind of play the same way, regardless who's in the lineup. So I didn't really notice anything totally different.
Tonight was another physical and scrappy game, just both sides of the ball, like it's been all series. Just what can you say about the physicality that you guys have been imposing, both sides of the ball, and just how much are you guys embracing that?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it suits our team, our playing style. I feel like we play like that all year, and I feel like whoever is the aggressor for a longer time in the game, wins the game in this series. So hopefully we can come out with that same mentality on Sunday.
Franz, when they pulled to within 91, it's a tie game, and you went right at Porzingis for those 2 layups. What are you seeing right there? What are you feeling? What's the moment like for you?
Yeah, I mean, they switch a ton as well. I feel like that was a good matchup for us. And once that first one went in, the end of the game, it's a little slower, and you're just kind of looking for any advantage. So I feel like it was good that we went right back to it.
Franz, how difficult is it to adjust to being a true two-way player, to not only do what you did on offense tonight, but to also spend so much time guarding people like Tatum and Brown?
Yeah, I feel like obviously you got to be in good shape. But I think in the playoffs it comes down to who wants to win more, and not every possession matters. And I take a lot of pride in playing both sides. So whatever the team needs me to do, I want to help out however I can.
For either of you guys, what kind of lift did you get from Anthony Black tonight?
Yeah, I think he just boosted our team with his intensity on defense, his aggressiveness guarding the ball. I think he set the tone when he got those two straight steals in the backcourt. Those are big plays in the playoffs, tone-setting plays for the whole team. So that's just what we ask out of him, and he did a great job of stepping up to the challenge.
For both you guys, you guys have delivered for this team, all year last year. I was just wondering, what was your mentality for both of you coming in tonight? Your leadership mentality, knowing that you don't want to go down 0-3.
Yeah, I think obviously come out aggressive and make sure that everybody's in a good mindset. Come back home down 2 games. Still play our game, still be confident, and like I said, I thought we were the more aggressive team tonight, and I think we had a good confidence about our group, so we need that again on Sunday.
Everyone good? One more. Last one. Paolo, talking about the fans tonight, I see in touch with the fans. Talk to us about the fans tonight, about the energy here in the Kia Center, and what's going to be the mindset for Game 4.
Yeah, the fans was great. They showed up tonight. And yeah, I mean, we fed off their energy all night. We've been doing that, past 2 years in the playoffs, feeding off them at home. So definitely going to need them for Game 4, try and get the tie.
Thank you.
Thank you.